All right, everybody, welcome. This is Mike Pisani from Alpha Sharks, and welcome to the webinar this week where we're going to talk about mastering unusual option activity and what we're going to be offering and where we go from there. My personal information is on your screen, so if you want to get a hold of me, you can get to me at mike@alphashark.com, or you can get me on Twitter at optionsmike. So very easy to get a hold of. Always try to respond to you guys when I can. All right. So tonight's agenda, before we move forward, I have to give a disclaimer. Day trading, short-term trading, options trading, and futures trading are extremely risky undertakings. They generally are not appropriate for someone with limited capital, little or no trading experience, and/or low tolerance for risk. Never execute a trade unless you can afford to and are personally prepared to lose your entire investment. All trading operations involve serious risk. If you cannot lose your entire investment, no trades are recommendations or advice. We cannot be sued for loss of capital. All trades are for educational purposes only. Contact your broker or RIA for execution, margin, and other capital requirements. Everyone watching this presentation adheres to all risk disclaimers on optionhacker.com and alphashark.com and Mike Pisani. Okay, so let's go forward now. Let's have the real presentation. So tonight we're going to be offering a new service, but these are always supposed to be educational, and we're going to focus on that. I'm always out to help you guys. So first thing we're going to do is talk about terms to be aware of. Then we're going to go over today's option activity and how you could have traded it. You know, SPY, Coke, Apple, Facebook, Netflix, CAT, and there's a lot of others we're going to talk about. I'm going to point out and highlight the option activity. We'll go over what was good, what was bad, what could have been traded, and what's still tradable there. We're then going to talk about the offering that we're going to be giving to you guys if you're interested. And as always, I'd love to end with your charts. Yeah, we do all have limited capital, Joe. I agree. So, you know, I like to give you guys the opportunity to tell me what charts you're looking at and what you're trying to do, and give you a read on what I'm seeing. So with that, if you guys are ready to go, we're going to jump on into this. Welcome here. I'm glad everybody's coming in. Just keep showing up, and we'll get to questions as we go through it here. Thanks, Rudy. I've had a really good couple weeks. I've been trading really well. I'm really kind of happy right now with the way I'm trading. Option terms. So basically, this is what you need to know so you understand what I'm talking to you guys about on a daily basis. And we're going to go over this quickly, and we're going to kind of move on. So a sweep. When we talk about option terms, a sweeper is a player that wants to get into the position and doesn't care what he pays, and will go across multiple exchanges to get into it as quickly as possible. These are some of the most bullish players. These are the guys we look for. These are the top bets that we see on in the options market on a daily basis. So these are some of the plays I'm usually looking for. A block is a negotiated buy of options or sale through a single exchange. It's not as bullish because the player is willing to take their time and do it. And these can be very large in size, but you know, they're not as aggressive. Now, a nice setup would be a block purchase of calls or puts followed by sweepers into faster times. So it's the same player wanting more and going out to get it. So that would make a block a very bullish or bearish play, or something I'd want to play, if that makes sense to you guys. A split ticket, same thing as a block, but just negotiated but through a couple of exchanges, usually 2 exchanges, because he couldn't get the entire purchase done through one. And the last one is tied to stock, and we see this a lot, and you got to be careful. There's a lot of people who call out option plays and that are often tied to stock. We saw that today in Comcast. Comcast had a big option call buy today, but it was all tied to stock. Well, the intent there is not as clear as to what's going on. So you got to be real careful with that. You have to watch whether it's tied and if there's option stock blocks of stock going off at the same time. There's a lot of guys out there that don't do that, and there's some guys out there on the market that are very good at doing that and pay a lot of attention to that. Even some of the big guys you hear on CNBC are often really wrong on what's going on with the activity. So just be really careful when you're looking at this stuff. It takes a little time sometimes, and sometimes they leg into these positions. So you have to see how it plays out after the first couple minutes. Again, want to keep this simple tonight. Put call sellers, very bullish. If a player sells puts, they're willing to take ownership of that stock at that strike price. That's a very bullish play. Likewise, if we see call selling, players often calling a top. And I'm going to tell you guys, in a lot of the banks, we saw call selling, out of the money call selling this week out into August and September. Not in general, not in Goldman Sachs, not in C, but we saw it in Bank of America, we saw it in JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley as well. So I have some concerns about the financials, that there's some big players out there that were selling some volume calls out of the money on these plays. Doesn't mean the short term runs over, but long term, these guys are usually right. So something to be aware of here. Volume, simple. How many calls or puts have been traded on that strike on a given day? Tells us how active it is and what's going on there. And then we look at that versus open interest, and that's the number of calls or puts that are currently in play in that strike. So if we see a position that has open interest of 0 and then has 5,000 or 5,000 puts or calls active that day, we know that's new player coming in. If you see a position that has 20,000 open interest and open interest of 5,000, I'm sorry, open interest of 5,000 in volume, open interest 20,000 in volume of 5,000, sometimes it's not quite clear exactly what's going on there. And of course, the size of the bet. What's the dollar value? How big of a bet are these guys putting out of it? Somebody that goes out and buys 20,000 calls that are way out of the money and doesn't have a lot of dollar value is not as exciting to me as somebody who comes in and goes long term and puts in a big bet right around at the money or just in the money on a position. So these are things that always you need to be looking at, and I'm always looking at this stuff during the day and helping me determine whether I'm going to play off that activity or not, if that makes sense to you guys. People are getting here late. Welcome. We're going to get going. We have a lot to go over tonight. All right. So I'm going to take the PowerPoint off, and we're going to go into today's action right here. So first off, I want to talk about is, we'll auto zoom out. We'll give us a little more room. We'll look at the SPY today, right? The SPY today gapped up, held the gap early, pushed up, and was pretty strong throughout most of the day. This is good stuff for us. The market's moving forward. One thing we need to look at here is, since this last Wednesday in that bottom, we had a little reversal candle. We now have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up days in a row and 6 higher lows, guys. Can you guys all see that? We have a very bullish trend. Unfortunately, it's on very low volume here. So we're in a very grinding, low volume atmosphere, which is not unusual. Can you enlarge the screen? I have it pretty large here. How much larger do you want it? I mean, that's my entire screen. It's a pretty big screen. Hi, Wendy. My name is Mike Pisani. We covered that earlier on. So I'm looking at 2 charts. On the bottom is the SPY. Okay, so let's try this. How about this? How's that? That help? You're welcome. All right, so here we are on the SPY today, okay? And, very, very nice day, bullish day, grinding type atmosphere on low volume to the end where we had some volume come in. So the first thing I want to tell you guys and want to take a look at here is some of the unusual option activity came in today. And we have 1, 2, 3 separate call sweepers of note that I picked up on that came into the markets today. And these arrows show you where they came in. So if you can see this, the first guy that came in was somebody who wanted to get involved in the SPY. They came in, they hit the June 30th 250 calls, about $177,000 of them, right here into the lows of this dip. So we have this dip, and they came running in here, and this was the first buyer that came in, signaling that this is not something to be taken lightly. This guy wasn't worried about it. As we're moving around, and again, I'm looking at a 5-minute chart, as we dipped a little bit again, we had another player come in, and they bought the June 2nd 242.50 calls for about $80,000, and that was right here. Okay? So I'm trying to give you guys here. Right here, this player came in today of this saying, and again, somebody else saying, I like this here. And finally, we had a player come in again and hit the June 244 calls with about a $500,000 bet up here. So Jordan, what I'm doing here, this is a service we're going to be offering. I come in, and as these come in, I'm putting the arrows in as the options come in as I'm watching it, so I can show it to you guys on a daily basis. So I come in, and as soon as I see it hit, I come in and I'm putting an arrow in so you guys can see clearly where it came in and what the reaction was, or where the market was at when it did it. Make sense? So we saw some other activity in the queue, so the SPY remained very bullish. All right, so let's pull the SPY down here. We've talked about this. We know where we're at. So let's pull up some stuff real quick. First thing is crude. Crude today was a problem for the markets. This is a very ugly candle. And the sell-off in the SPY really came in here. All right, when the crude broke 50, the market got really a little bit concerned with it today. This is something to keep an eye on because, crude was giving the markets fits when it was coming down like this. So we'll have to see how this plays out over the next couple of days, if this is just a very temporary reaction to OPEC, just extending the cuts but not increasing it or not. All right, so something I want you guys to keep an eye on. Pay attention to crude and how it's reacting to the market here as we move forward for the next couple of days. The other thing we're going to look at real quickly, we look at these things all day in the chat room, I show it to people, is breadth. Breadth was not that great today. Even though the market was up high, advanced decliners, $ ADD and Thinkorswim, you can see it opened high, came down all day, and closed close to the lows, even though the market was close to the highs. This remains kind of a red flag, guys, as we move forward. Okay, let's go to the IWM. IWM remains a major concern for the market. Small caps have not been able to get going. And again, small caps, banks, energy, biotech, a lot of them in there, and none of those sectors are actually working well right now. So just something to keep in mind, if IWM remains weak, we could have some overall problems in the market. Okay. On to the good stuff. All right, so let's start talking about some of the flow I saw today and stuff that may still be tradable. So first thing I'll do is we're going to take a look at Cake. Cake was interesting. This was a nice scalp if you wanted to get into it. I didn't play it, but the player came into Cake very early. On the open, the player came in and they bought the June 60 calls for $1.85 right here. All right, you got a weird candle here. And somebody, by the way, is talking. Can you put yourself on mute?
Check the potato system. It's beeping, but it's cooked. I'll go check.
Anyway, nice push. You could have played this for a nice push up to the 60 area and gotten out. And I want to point something out. A lot of people think you have to buy options. You do not have to buy options in this market. You can buy the common. You could have bought the common here, a couple hundred shares, and rode this for a nice gain up into this area. Closed week, came down. It's still above the 8-day. This is something worth watching moving forward, not something I'm involved in here. All right, I think Lance was online on the microphone, so we're taking Lance out here. Got him. Joe, I'm not going to disagree. It does look like a few stocks are only pushing the market up right now. It's one of my concerns. We're going to go into that more. Coke. Coke, right here this morning, got a series of sweepers that came in. They bought the January 47 calls. They spent about $500,000 in it. Not a sexy trade, but this thing grinded all day long to a new high. This thing still looks nice. Pepsi looks nice. Hard to initiate here, but this is a play I would look on any kind of pullback to maybe try to get long and involved in at this point. All right, next one is a name I know you guys like to play. It's a name I love to play, and that's Apple. So Apple, very early on, we saw some sweepers come in. First, they tagged the June 2nd 152.50 calls for about 2,800 of them right here. So you guys can see where I'm at, see where I'm pointing at right here. As you see how you could have played this. I did play Apple. Then they came in and they hit the June 155 calls just a little bit higher about 10 minutes later. So we were up around here. They came in and hit it again. That was about a $150,000 bet that came in. So you could have played off of these and gotten a nice move and gotten out of Apple and managed your trades and put stops in place and had a nice game. Came down, looks bad. I will say this about Apple. Apple's getting very tight. We saw this in Facebook. We saw this in Netflix the last couple of weeks. Apple looks the same here. It feels like it's biding its time. As long as this market holds up, Apple looks like this could be in play, and I'd watch for further sweepers coming in here to signal anything. I'd like to see it get a little stronger here, back above the 8-day, but certainly if it had been a stronger close, I would have stayed with it. I did close out on this pop, just so you guys are aware. I took my profits, not much, and left. How you doing? You guys have any questions so far? CNI. Did not play this one. Not a name I normally looked at, but it was strange. Player came in right here, which will put it right at this candle, right in the middle of this. Went up, dipped immediately. The player came in and the player bought the July 85 calls. Not big, but for this name and out of the money was about 6.5 times unusual option activity there. Came down, so you could have bought it at a discount and closed up at the highs of the days. This player has to July. This is something I would keep my eye on and try to buy dips on if it's a name you like. And guys, I'm always going to tell you that. If it's a name you like, you should play it. If it's a setup you like, you should look at it. Don't chase these things, but if it's something you like, go. Don't just buy because it's unusual option flow. Buy because it's a setup you like. There's so much option flow every day. It gives us lots of opportunities, and I'm going to try to give that to you every day. A different view on the market. Tenet Healthcare, THC, another name today. June 18 calls got bought. They got swept a couple times, coming in about 5,100 of them total got bought. You can see it was not long after the open. Player came in, it sold off, but it closed back above there. Somebody in here is trying to get this going. We saw this in Nike last week, earlier this week. We saw PEP, big things. We're seeing a lot like that. Joe, the red arrow is me noting where the option player came in. So this arrow right here is me telling you this is where the option player bought. I'm noting the time, putting it on there so I can show this to you guys visually. Because a lot of people are visual. You want to see where the player came in and see how it traded out, right? So you're seeing this is where these guys bought this. They bought it here. And then how did it react from there and how you could have traded it. All right, so telling you a guy bought 5,100 calls on Tenet Healthcare today, you don't know where it was. Showing you where it was and the reaction gives you an opportunity to decide if this is something you want to play or not as we move forward. So that's my goal with this service. I want you guys to see what I'm seeing, see how it's coming in, and seeing what you can do with it. Okay. On to Amazon. How many people played Amazon today, guys? Show of hands. Anybody out there type it in? Yeah, he did, Jordan. AS, to answer your questions, there's always sales of SPY options today. Really, the note of the players I noted today were buyers. They were buying options on it. Nice. Okay, so you guys all played it. So I want you to see this was an interesting one. So right about in here, and I forgot to put it on here, and I'm sorry, but I knew it was early. We had a player come in and opened up a very large spread. So they bought the 6-2 1,750 calls. By the way, it's really tough to start talking Amazon now in options because of the price. And they sold the 1,012.50 calls against it. So they're creating a nice little spread here. They think this thing's going up higher. They're looking to take in the profits. They think this thing is going to go to at least 1,012, and they can take in the difference in price. So very bullish option activity in Amazon as it came up to almost to 1,000, just missed. I'm hoping we get a red open here so we can go in and try to play with this later. Jordan, I regret I didn't play option today. Ramu, how do I decide entry? I basically use I use what I'm looking for. So we're going to come up to a name right now, and we'll go to a name right now that I traded today, starting yesterday. So let's go to a daily chart on Facebook first, and I want to talk about this, and this will help you. So Facebook, I've been watching for days. You notice I have this line drawn in a downtrend. By the way, if you're in the trading room, I'm doing this live for an hour and 15 minutes a day. I post stuff all throughout the day. This is designed. What I'm trying to do here is give you guys everything I do all throughout the day. You'll get it in a recap every day. So yesterday I bought June 155 calls at 73 cents, close to the close based upon how the stock was closing at the highs of the day and had broken this downtrend. So come into today. Fast forward today. We had the open, and it was kind of weak and couldn't get going. I was a little frustrated with it, but then it started to get going and I was happy. And then the call sweeper started pouring in. So this is what I'm going to do now. We're going to focus into this area because I want you to see this is how you play momentum in a name with options. So the first guy that came in, which was right here, and he came in and he bought the June 30th 165 calls. Right here, boom, went up. As it hit its top, somebody else came in and they hit the May 26th, tomorrow's 150 calls right there. Stock flatlined for a bit, dipped, which is not unusual, right? And I'll tell you why it dipped here, because we were getting overbought on a short-term basis on the MACD. Came down. As it started going back up, they started coming after this thing hot. July 160 calls, 200 and something $1,000 bet here. All right. And as we started going up, we saw more weeklies coming into this thing here and here. They were going up to the 157.50s here at this point. I sold it into this push. I got out at $1.27. I had a nice gain. I had 20 options. I took my profits, and I was happy with it, and I will revisit this tomorrow after a 2-day move. So Raul, to your answer, I took it because I like the area. I think this thing can go to all-time highs. I'm just a little hesitant with the market having moved so much in so many days, so I'm taking profits. I should have left a runner, but I decided not to at the end of the day. Jordan, I do it real time during the day. Unfortunately, right now, the scanner, I have it down and is probably reset for the day. My apologies on that. All right, so SPY, some other stuff. I'm going to go to a bearish setup today. GM, wasn't watching. Kate, my name is Mike Pisani. I'm with Alpha Sharks. So GM today, there was a sudden volume drop. I picked it up on my news feed, wasn't sure what was going on, and then right here at this point, mid this candle in the 5-minute bar, we saw a player come in, bought the June 2nd 35.50 puts, about $260,000 worth of it. Oh, guys, it's okay. I'm recording this. I'm going to post it on Twitter later after it processes so you guys can watch it on replay. Appreciate everybody showing up today. Really do. So this was quick. If you had jumped on this, you could have gotten a very nice profit on those options. They almost doubled quickly on that little move. And you could have gotten out. You could have said, I'm getting out. You could have even gotten out for a nice profit here. And I know people in the room did. Okay, on my polling that out. Close flat, bad news. I don't know here if I would stay with it. This was a scalp. Some things are just going to be scalps, guys. Not everything is a swing trade. That was a nice one. So let's move on to a swing trade. Swing trade, SQ. SQ's been on fire. Look at this move we've had here. So I put the arrow on the daily. Why? Because, I put it on both. So what happened to SQ is we saw a December 20 call buyer come in for about $800,000 worth and then swept it with another two, in a little bit of sweeper action after it, right into here. So if you like Square, and this is a setup you like, and this is a stock you want to play with, I would note this action. I would say, I like Square. This was a big buy. This was a sweeper. This was a big bet into the name. It's a lot out in time, so I should not expect an immediate reaction. But knowing this, I might want to buy dips, especially if we can get to the 8-day. So my goal here, guys, is to really try to teach you what I look at and what goes through my head when I see this option activity come in. Because I'm really trying to really educate you guys, teach you how to do it, not to chase everything that comes in. I'm only showing you the stuff I really like today. I don't want to give you guys everything because there's so much flow every day. Most of it is not worth anything. All right, so that's square. Cat. Cat was rough. So cat was a bearish play right here, middle of the day, May 26, tomorrow's 105 puts got bought, about $100,000 worth of them. I know some people in the room jumped on them, made about 25% profit on them and got out off of this reversal candle. They bailed on it as a scalp. I don't know what the player's thinking here. It was notable, though, because of its short term, right? Anytime somebody's buying options that expired that day or tomorrow, the next day, I'm taking notice of it. Now, could they be protecting profits? If it's somebody that had big profits after this run, they might be protecting it. It's very hard to say here. Definitely have a double top on the daily chart at this 106 area. So something to watch tomorrow to see how CAT reacts. Something I'd put on my radar. Walmart, another weekly sweeper. This has got my interest into this one. So Walmart, very unusual, gets a lot of option activity. Somebody came into this name and bought tomorrow's 78 calls right here. Stock did not close well. It's below it, but they actually spent some money on that. They put about $50,000 into that name. Rudy, I hear you. I'm not disagreeing. I'm trying to point out the flow on it. Somebody's willing to put 50,000 into tomorrow's options that this thing's going higher. So for tomorrow, it's on my radar only because it's worth. Now, I probably won't buy options. If I was to buy this tomorrow with options, I'm not going to buy weeklies. I'm going to go out to next week. NVIDIA, yeah, we saw 3 sweepers through NVIDIA today, Jordan, trying to get it going. It had 3 small sweepers. I actually traded it with Common briefly. I did not get out fast enough. I had 500 shares and took a $40 loss. So transparency, I'm not going to cry over a $40 loss on it. But NVIDIA also had that. You're absolutely right. Yeah, there you go. So we're all in the same. It just wasn't a great trade. It happens. Listen, we're all going to take losers. We move on. COP. I'm showing you COP for a reason, guys. I'm not very bullish on COP here. That said, we had a June 44.50 call sweeper, about $175,000, came into blood. So look how bad this thing's down. Look how horrible it looks. And somebody came in here and bought $177,000 worth of the, again, sorry, I lost my place here, of the June 44.50 calls right here. It's worth watching. I don't know that this is not that I want to swing it or get really long. I'm looking at this tomorrow for a possible bounce. I think this is possible something. If oil's not selling off tomorrow, we can come in and play this for a possible bounce. All right, moving on here. Netflix. Want to talk about Netflix, guys. For sure want to talk about Netflix. Very angry at Netflix. So I'm going to take it to a 2-day view for you guys. Right in here yesterday, there was a call buyer into June 160 calls. I noted it. The stock didn't do anything afterwards, and I did not pursue it. Yeah, I know, Jordan. So somebody came in and bought it right here, about 500 of them, and I didn't do anything with it. But it was on my watch. I wanted to get into it. And what happened here? Gapped up, and I did not chase this move. So we had a beautiful move. You had a $6 move. I'm not going to chase a $6 move in Netflix. The reason I want to show you this to you guys, because we had a June 167.50 call buyer right here of size. So somebody came in right here and spent about $300,000 coming into it. Netflix, my Twitter here, optionsmike.com. I'll post it up for you again later, Ed, so you can follow me. So I wouldn't chase this. Netflix very rarely gives more than a 1-day move like this. That said, I'd be looking to buy weakness, especially if we can get to the 8-day on this thing. So Jordan, you want to know how I time trades? Let me show you. Very simple. Facebook, I want to go to a 1-minute chart. I want to show you something I use here. I'm going to go over this and beat you guys on the head over it. You see the MACD down here? On a 1-minute chart? Okay. I use this as a measure of overbought, oversold. I don't care where the lines are. I care how overbought or oversold a stock or equity or position is. Up here, I sold. I sold it up here because look how look at how it gets. Whenever Facebook gets, whenever Facebook gets up here, it pushes back. So if I'm in a trade for a day and I have a nice profit and I'm happy with my profit and it's getting overbought, I take my profits there. Does that make sense? On a 1-minute chart. Now, here, look what happened here. It got there, it cooled off. See how it came back to neutral and it went again? So you have to be aware of that. So one thing, guys, I'll always tell you, use whatever you're comfortable with. I will never enforce or try to throw my feelings or what I use on you. Use what works for you, and that's the most important thing you guys can ever do as a trader. Trust whatever you're doing and trust what you're using. Don, I do. Stochastics for me are a little slow. I like how fast MACD is. It works very well for me. All right, a couple other things, but I want to show you 2 quick bear ones, and I want to move on to a couple other things. Dow. Dow's been hot. We have the merger, but somebody came in towards the end of the day and hit this thing with June 30th 58 puts, about $100,000 worth of them. So if you're looking for something to short and you like to short, something I would be looking at here, somebody came in and did that there. I also want to keep things moving, so I'm going to go to First Solar, which has been a very hot stock. Look at the daily. Look how this thing's gone. There's been call buying through this up. For the first time, we had a player come in, again, close to the end of the day, right here. They bought the August 3250 puts large, about $500,000 worth of them. Coming in here, they went deep out of the money. So that's not protection. That's somebody looking for some downside. That's a little bit different there. And to be honest with you, I think Facebook has more. I may look to go back into it, but I wanted to protect profits in this market after 6 up days in a row. Does that make sense? You know, take your profits. You can always go back in. That's the beauty of options. You can always get back into them, guys. Take your profits. You can always buy a dip and go back in. So Don, this is where you can teach an old dog new tricks. Somebody in the room said, why don't you use it on a short-term time frame? And they're right, it works. It can shows you right here, see, as it was coming down through here and it was going sideways, money was buying, institutions were buying into it. So you can use this to see what's going on with it on an intraday basis as well. It works pretty nicely. All right, 2 more and we're done. We're going to move on to other things. NSC. NSC had call bang throughout the day. I wasn't paying attention to it. That's my bad. The reason I want to point out to this, on the close, we had a big buyer of the December 135 calls. 1,200 of them got bought going into the close. On a candle like this, somebody thinks this thing's going a lot higher. Look at the volume today. Not saying I'm going to race to buy it here. It's extended, but if I can get a pullback and a little consolidation, I would look to play that. One more is TGNA, and this one just takes the cake today. Gotta love this. So TGNA, I saw a July 24 call sweeper, not big, about $80,000 worth, right in the middle of this candle. This may not be accurate because everything was moving really fast, so you got to bear with me on this one. And of course, then the rumor came out of there being somebody's looking to buy them, and this thing exploded and moved up, and it's going higher. I learned that sometimes when you see weird option activity in a name, you sometimes just take a few of them to see what happens, because you look for news. Something like that screams news on a name that doesn't seem a lot of action activity. So that was today, guys. That was the action we saw today. That's what today looked like in the world, according to Mike, and option flow. And I spent, I watched the option flow all day long. That was what I thought was the best of everything today. So hopefully that helps you guys going into tomorrow, gives you some ideas to work with as you guys go out there and move forward. JR, your opinion, do you differentiate? Yeah, so JR wants to know, do I differentiate between unusual option activity that is protection or an expected move or based on someone's knowledge? Absolutely. So we see a lot of stuff out there. So like PEP yesterday. Yesterday, there was a call buyer that came in twice to PEP and bought 10,000 pop of, I think, guys, I think they're September 125s. Sorry, I got to go back through my thing there. So they went through there and they bought them twice. I tried to fill, couldn't get filled, and it had a nice grind day. That is somebody that's an unusual call buyer. Nothing was tied to anything. So that was a nice move. Comcast today. Comcast had a big call buyer. I don't remember it, but immediately saw it was tied to stock. And it came in, I think, right in this area. Immediately saw Comcast was tied to stock at that point. So I'm always looking at that. The other thing I always look at is these players don't like to sell their options. So a lot of times if you get a move like this and you knew there was buying down on this day and these days, and you see put buying up here, you know it's protective. They probably don't want to sell their calls. They're just buying puts to protect it just in case. Yep, yes, thank you. And yes, of course, that's Trade Alert. I get everything off of Trade Alert, Rudy. That's exactly how I do it. Kate, I'm going to post the recording later on my Twitter feed. So you just follow me there. So PEP's tough, Elizabeth. Honest answer. I was trying to buy the calls yesterday at 0.53, and they kept moving and went wide, and I pulled away, and I think now they're up around 0.90. A nice win there. I can't chase this. I know there's rumors out there they may be bought out. I can't chase this at this point, so I'm not going to play with that. I turn to look. I look the other way, Elizabeth. I don't look at it anymore. When people call it to my attention and they're in it, I say grats, and I'm happy for them, and I just look the other way. So we're going to go over all that in a minute, Scott. So hang tight for a minute. Do you wait for? No, I do not wait, Elizabeth. I always take my profits. 99, perfect. I always take my profits when I want to take my profits. And once I get green, I try to put a stop in. So GS. So I want to go back over this one for you guys. 2 days ago, GS got a September 250 call buyer back in here, and I jumped on it. I jumped on it because GS was looking a little stronger, and I liked it. And what I started doing with GS is I sold, I think I had 50 of them. I sold 20 up here, 20 up here. I left a runner and I dropped 10 right in this area just as it started to recross the 8-day and come back down. And I'm now out of it. I started at $1.28. My final sale was at $2.10. So I tend to leg out of trades as I go. They were, not expensive ones. That's why I had a good amount of them. And I tend to get myself out and leg out when I have size like that. Today, Facebook, I decided to dump the whole thing. So it depends upon the trade. All right. So I want to bring this back up. I want to tell you what we're going to be offering, and then we're going to open this up to you guys for questions and go to charts if we have time to go over that. Okay. So what we want to do is offer you guys a private, exclusive, unusual option and option activity mentoring and daily recaps. So the goals of this, guys, is to impart knowledge onto you on what's the best optional activity of that day was, and to try to make you guys better traders and help you learn what looks good and what doesn't look good from trained eyes. Instead of trying to just do this on your own, there's tons of option flow every day, is to try to tell you what I'm doing, what I saw, and how things went. So the idea is a little bit of enlightenment for you guys. how could you have traded? Like today, I'm showing you how you could have traded some of this stuff as the option activity came in, and also what is still worth trading, right? So, you know, what was good and what I think is swing worthy or look to something you could look at going forward. I want to be interactive with you guys. So we want to give you the ability to interact with option traders and how to learn from them. So giving you the ability to get a hold of me, chat with me. We're going to have webinars. We're going to go over that in a minute and give you guys the ability to interact with people who are doing this. And I do this for a living. I make my money off the markets, guys. This is how I survive these days. So this is where I'm at. Also teach you guys trade management. Managing a trade is important. Learn when to take a loss, when to move on, where to put your stops, how to leg out of trades, and how to leave runners for big moves if you think you can get it in the name. I want to provide you guys with transparency, talk about my positions, what I did, what I won on, what I lost on, what worked, what didn't work, and what I'm still in. So you'll know what I'm doing this every day going forward. I do this in the chat room. This is a separate service offering that you don't have to be in the chat room for, but you're more than welcome to. Market overview. We're going to talk about what we're seeing in the market, how it's set up as we move forward here at this point, where we're going. Right? You know, is the market set up bullish, bearish, or neutral? That's important because you have to decide how you're going to take trades based upon where we think the market's going. Right now, it's a stock picker's market. As long as the market doesn't sell off, you can keep following things and going in and out of it. Just start playing smaller up here. I'm going to go over styles. Are you a day trader, scalper, swing trader? What works best? What do you do? How do you want to trade? Lastly, sizing. Everybody has the same account. I know some people that are trading with very large accounts and some people are trading with very small accounts. We'll go over position sizing, how you should be trading, you know, how to size things appropriate. Joe, to your question, I do trade the ETFs. I did not right now. Right now, I've been mostly in and out of individual stocks. I just like it better. CJ, we're going to cover some of that stuff. I prefer to swing trade as well, Jordan, and I'm very much with it. I agree with you there. I'm better swing trader. I scalp trade when I get nervous in the markets. So what are you going to get? So every day, Monday through Thursday, I'm going to give you a daily recap video like we went over today. Today was longer because I spent a lot of time going over questions and talking. I'll talk about the action, where it came in, and what looks good. And then I'll give you guys a weekend update, right? Same type of thing, but I'm not going to give you an update on Friday. It'll be over the weekends going over the action, and we'll go through this. It'll look very similar in a video. Every Thursday at 6:30 Eastern Time, you're going to get a live coaching session for a half an hour. This is for you guys. Come in, ask questions. We'll go over stuff. We can talk about positions you're in, how to manage them, what's going on, or how you're sizing. And then every third Saturday of the month, we're going to do a boot camp starting at noon for an hour to 2 hours where you guys get to come in and really just ask any questions you want, go over everything, and do everything that's going on. So Kate, I absolutely will do that in a second. Can you just give me a minute? And I'll be happy to do that. Maurice, I appreciate it. Just hit me up on Twitter. I'm going to put my Twitter account up there, or hit me up on my email. I'll put that back up to you. Anyway, so want to give you guys a lot. I want to give you guys very good. Yeah, Thursday 6:30 is Michael. We're going to do it every Thursday 6:30, half an hour, your guys' time, as long as I'm not something else going on. And there'll be occasions where that's just going to take place, but it's going to be for the most part. And then a boot camp every third Saturday of the month. So the third Saturday of every month, options expiration. So that should sit well with you guys. We'll come in and we'll do a boot camp and go over everything that's been going on and let you guys just hit me with every question you guys have imaginable, and we can talk through it and how to trade things and what we see and stuff like that. I want to try to teach you, like in the room, I try to teach when I can, but I have an hour and 15 minutes. And a lot of times like today, the action was just too much to do teaching. So we want to make this educational and informative. So to sign up for this, please go to alphashark.com, best coaching. So here's the deal. It's a nice offer. The first month is $99. I really encourage you all to take your chance at that. And take a try. After that, it renews at $149 a month. And the bonus is, if you're not a member of the Alpha Shark Trading Room, I got AK to give a free month of that as well. So you can come in, you can get the daily recaps and everything going forward. This will start next week, and you can get a free month in the trading room as well, where you have a live access to the information that's being displayed. and to the moderators in the room there as well. So to recap, please, alphasharks.com, best coaching. And what I'll do here is for you guys is, oops, put that in there. $99 first month, $149 thereafter. Recap of the daily videos, the day's action, a weekly webinar, and a monthly boot camp for all you guys with real-time action. Yep, I'm going to do that right now for you. So just hang tight. If I hit the right button. So I just posted this all to all. Hopefully you guys can see that out there now. You can get your hands in it. I'm going to come back here real quick, and then we're going to go to your charts, guys. Any questions you have right now, please ask them. For people asking, Mike@alphashark.com. is my email. Twitter, OptionMike is my Options Mike is my thing. Anybody have any questions on what we're offering, what we want to do here, and how this would work? If not, we have about 15 minutes left, and I'm going to go to charts for you guys. I'm going to let you ask for charts. I'm going to do as we always do. Yep, we'll take a look at Marvel. We'll take a look at all this. Let me just make sure. So no questions. We're going to pull up charts and start going. All right. So Marvel. They had earnings tonight. I'm not sure what they did, just to put it out there real quick. Yes, Ed, Thursday weekly at 6:30 Eastern time. The boot camp's going to be from 1 to 2 hours AS, depending upon how many people are in and how many questions are involved. Make sense? Every third Saturday of the month. So I need to do something real quick here for you, because I am not sure what Marvel did tonight. I was a little busy preparing this for you guys and going over stuff. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see what Marvel's doing after hours. So it's down a little bit, not much, down 2% on volume. Okay. So Marvel here for you. It's been a constant buyout rumor. So it's down a bit, but it looks like it's holding this breakout area, roughly. Looks like it's right in this area. If it can hold above the 8-day, I think it's still long. If it cannot hold the 8-day, I would get out of Dodge and get out of the way. That would mean it's lost its momentum. The 8 days currently is 1630. Expected probably going to open a little higher tomorrow. You're very welcome. Hey, we all have forgettable months. We all have our problems, Simon. So guys, don't feel bad. So let me get back. Micron. Somebody was asking me on Micron. So I know I have a chart on Micron. I love Micron, and I hate Micron. Sorry, guys, froze up for a half second. Give me a sec. There we go. All right, Micron. So I didn't post any option to Micron today, guys, because this has been call buying into Micron every freaking day. Every day, every day, every day, every day, every day, every day, every day. Technically, this chart looks nice. And the reason, I'm going to scroll down, give it a second to reset. So I'm going to show you a couple of things. First off, we are now back right at this area right here. So we had a lot of resistance at this 29.45.50 area, and we're about to push, we're pushing above it. Here's your top of your Bollinger Band. RSI is good, set to go. And we have our all-time high up here just shy of 30 on earnings day. Micron looks very, very bullish here at this point. If you're long it, I stick with it. If you're not long it, try to buy a dip. Anything off the 8-day at this point, if it's going to be strong, is worth a time, worth an attempt. Okay, so there's Micron for you. MGM. MGM saw a call buyer earlier this week. I did not like it. I thought it was tied to stock. I saw a big block of stock go off at that time. Chart does not look bad. I think they bought way out of the money. They bought 35s out in time. It was might have been December. I don't remember 100%, guys. Sorry. I'm usually pretty good. It's holding the 8-day barely. It's choppy. It looks like it's trying to set up for another run. I would try to stay long it versus the 8 or the 21-day here at this point, as long as the market stays in play. Yeah, kind of, Joe. Not a clean. Usually a handle comes down, but yes, kind of a cup and handle formation. I can see that. You want to see my Kate? Sure. 1 second. My Twitter page right here. Options, Mike. Can you see that okay there? All right. You got it. Absolutely. And guys, I will always continue to post stuff on Twitter no matter what. I do like to help people out. I believe the markets are tough enough as they are to do that. So let's see. Trying to get to you guys. Don't have a ton of time left, so let's go rocking this out here at this point. LMXC. Nope, did I type that wrong? LMCX, sorry. I'm an idiot sometimes. See, if you guys are in the trading room, you get to see me do this live. Why is this not working? Is this not a symbol? All right, I don't know what you're asking for there on that one, so I'm going to move on unless you find something else. You can try to clarify it if I have time. RTN or RTIN? Guys, these names aren't coming up. I don't know what you guys are posting in here. AMBA. So AMBA has earnings coming. Why is nothing, maybe it's my thing. What the hell's going on here? All right, maybe stock charts is having problems at the moment. We'll switch over. There we go. Okay, AMBA. Prior to earnings, I know they have earnings coming. Go grab this real quick. So AMBA, you have resistance in this area, right? You can even drop it down and say you have resistance right where it stopped today. You see that right there, right? Came right to it, stopped. It looks good off the 8-day. RSI is getting heated. I don't play earnings, guys. I don't hold these things into earnings unless I'm holding long term. So this is resistance. It gets through here. You could probably get a little more run, and my guess is it's going to cool off a little bit heading into earnings here. Boeing had bad news last week. Come on. Came back. What a dip you could have bought here out of the Bollinger Band. Now back all new time highs. RSI looks good. Haven't seen any call buying in the name. That's the only thing I would say. They're not buying into this move, whatever. It's at the top of the Bollinger Band. If the Bollinger Band turns up, this thing will ride it. So it kind of set up for it. Nice move off the bottom, maybe widens it. If you're long it, I would stick with it. That said, if I can get a dip, I'd buy it on dips if I wanted to get into it. I wouldn't buy it here as we move forward. BABA, guys. BABA is one of the names I lost on this week. I took a very small loss on BABA yesterday. I tried buying it yesterday on this candle off the 8-day into the reversal, and it came back, and I got stopped out for about a $150 loss. I'm never going to cry over a $150 loss. And then today it got strong late in the day. It looks like it's trying to hold in and rebuild. It looks good. China names came out of play a little bit for here. I like BABA as we move forward. I like this setup off the 8-day if it continues to hold it. Tesla. All right, so here's my Tesla story today, guys. So I was watching Tesla and I was futzing around with a bunch of Citibank calls I had. I had June 65 calls in Citibank, and I was trying to get out, and the market makers were playing games with it, and I couldn't get out, and I missed this move this morning, and I was very upset. So what can I tell you here? Tesla looks good to go to 320. If you get a dip in it tomorrow and it holds up, I'd look to buy it here on the dips at this point. It looked weak. It shook off the JP Morgan downgrade at this point. Baird came in yesterday, not yesterday, and this thing reversed, saying this thing could get to $500 or $700. I like this setup here. Buy time. Give it time to move. That's all I would say. Don't go on weekly options on this or next week's. By the way, guys, we're running out of time. Remember, next week's a short week. You have 3 days to decay. Think before you buy next week's options. Go an extra week. Give yourself the gift of time. Less decay. Yep, they do. Some other names here. RTN. Raytheon had a buyout rumor on it, didn't go anywhere and has run back up now. A lot of the defense names look really good here. It's getting heated. It's a name that does not get heated very often. I'd be selling up around all-time highs on this one, or at least putting stops in place and taking some profits. I would not be initiating new positions in Raytheon here. It's not what I would look to do. BBY, guys, oh, come on. This thing's up 20% today. I can't do anything with this. I love it. If you were long it here and you made your money, great. Another thing about BBY, it doesn't tend to move much between earnings plays. So I would not expect this thing to go much further than this, at least for a little while. It's a retail name. Hey, thanks, Ed. I appreciate it, guys. What else can we looking at? Trying to get your names here, guys, as we're going forward. Target. Target is a name of frustration for people involved in this thing. It had good earnings, got caught up in that sell-off last Wednesday and just can't get going. It's coming down. I don't have a position in it. It's below all the moving averages again. Maybe a double bottom here off this 52 area would get me involved in it. Oh, Jordan, I'm sorry to hear that. I took a loss in Tesla on that one. I lost about $1,800. I bought short-term options, held them overnight, and I was in deep trouble when the market opened the next day. And I got out, and you just move on. There's nothing you can do when you get caught in a political event like that. You just move forward. So, you know, we all got hit. And I will tell you guys something. You're always going to take a hit at the end of a run, no matter what you do. So at this point in the markets, I'm not trying to talk you guys out of it. You have to be expecting that we can get hit at any time. And I don't mean this to be negative. I'm just telling you, when you have had a run like this to all-time highs, you got to start lightening up. Play smaller, less swing trades, less risk. It's about risk management. There's still money to be made, long and short every day, but lighten up. Play smaller. Put tighter stops in. Don't let things get away from you, because you're going to get those days where the market's going to gap down like it did and you're going to be stuck. And that's just the simple truth of the game we play. We play with options because we can manage our risk and not be stuck in a stock that gets killed. Hey, thanks, Mark. So just, you know, you just realize where we're at here now at this point. Yeah, Jordan, that's one of the things we're going to go over in the weekly and the boot camps is risk management. And at some point, if people want it, we may do some private tutoring if you're interested in that as well. I'll be happy to do that as well. Right now, I'm just trying to teach you guys what I know, see if this flies, see if you like what I'm doing here, and you can go from there. It'll be included in the webinars again. And I'll give one more. I'm going to do Amgen, and then my hour's about up, guys. And I really appreciate everybody who showed up here tonight and came in. I love doing these for you. I'm going to be doing 3 webinars in June. They're always free. They'll always be going over stuff like this and showing you free stuff. The flow's included, exactly, Jordan. The flow's included in that. So Amgen, what I do remember is there was a June 2018 160 call buyer somewhere in this mess. I'd have to go back to my notes to find it. No, every night that video recap, what I did today, I'll be doing every night, Jordan. Every night for that. Gap down, bad data. This gap down was bad data. It wasn't earnings. This was the earnings. It's tough. Biotech's out of play. I'm kind of avoiding biotech names right now until something changes. I love Amgen. I just do not like this setup here. Stuck at the 8-day. I'm going to give you one more, guys. I'll do 2 more real quick because one I want to give you and one you guys asked for. Gilead. Gilead, I'm going to show you this one because you asked for it. To me, Gilead is in no man's land. This stock can't get going at this point. They don't have a good pipeline. Please be careful with this. They've been buying the December 70 calls on this thing, and every time they buy it, the stock goes down further. I'm waiting for anything to show. First, right now for me, it needs to get back above the 8-day. I'm not touching this thing long until it gets above the 8-day. Last one of the night, X. I want to go to X because it's a name I played this week, did very well with it. I made 3 trades on this name. I scalped common on this move here for about 30 cents. Not a huge win, but it's a win. All right, Scott, you got it. Last one, CVS. I grabbed July 22 options on the open because the call buyer came into it, and up in here I grabbed the June 22s because they came screaming for that. I sold all my June 22s when it hit the 21 day. Why? Because I knew the 21 day would be resistance. I'm down. I had 50 of them. I'm down to 10 now. July 22 calls, which are underwater here, and I'm going to hold it. 8 and 21 day, Tim, are EMAs. 50, 100, and 200 are SMAs. That's how I like to roll. That's what works for me. I am staying long those Julys because if it can hold the 8 day, I think this thing's not done. I think this was just a nasty reaction, but we'll see how it plays out. Last one, CVS. CVS, guys, on this here. Ugh. I'd be inclined to short any rebounces to the 8 day. So what I would do, I wouldn't be going long at this point. Maybe. You have some support where it closed. Not great. Better support a little lower. Right now, I wouldn't do anything until it hit the 8 day. If it doesn't hold the 8 day, I would try to short it there. If it gets above the 8 day, I would go long for it and see if I can play for this gap fill. Guys, I appreciate everybody coming in tonight. I'm just going to put this up one last time for you guys out there. Hope you guys join. I'd love to do this for you. I can't wait to work with everybody. So, you know, every day video recap for $99 a month for the first month, $149 thereafter. Free month on the trading room, weekly webinar to ask questions, and a monthly boot camp. Everybody have a fabulous night. Thanks for attending. The trading room is live, I think, from 8:30 Eastern or 9 Eastern, 8:30 or 9 Eastern until a little after 4. Everybody have a fabulous night. Again, thank you for coming, and I will see you on the next one. We do post flow and chat. We do have Trade Alert up real time, and I post flow as I see it when I'm not on mod. When I'm on mod, I'm obviously talking about it real time to you. So the flow in chat comes with the trading room, yes.